We're going to review another mock draft today, but this one's 7 rounds, released by ESPN by Matt Miller. We're going to go pick by pick, and we're going to go over the selections and the landing spots for Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you're here to see what your NFL team did, just follow along. Watch and tell me what you think about this mock draft and the selections they made for your team. Drop that in the comments below. But you also need to hit that subscribe button right now because we're covering these mock drafts. We're getting you ready for the NFL draft. I'm helping you build your dynasty teams. I'm helping you with your fantasy teams. Click that button. Stop missing out because I'm going to be a key resource come August when the bullets start firing for real football. But we're going to look at some fake football today. We're going to look at this fake mock draft by the one and only Matt Miller. Not Mac Miller, but Matt Miller. But we're going to the first pick. And we know who it's going to be. It is Caleb Williams going to the Bears. It's standard. It's standard. It's part of the course. We're seeing this in every mock draft. The Bears are getting the quarterback. Think what you want on Caleb Williams, but this is where he's going until the Bears get that Godfather offer, if that ever happens. But now we're going to the second pick. Jaden Daniels going to the Commanders. Are they going to go Drake Maye? Are they going to go Jaden Daniels? He's flipping and flopping in the mock drafts. Wherever he goes, we shall see. But if he goes to the Commanders are still trying to build around them. We do have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dodson, and company. They'll probably get more pass catchers. They got to retool this team. It's going to be a come-up. It's going to be a building process, but he could hit in this landing spot. That being said, we do have trades here. And the Minnesota Vikings move up to get Drake Maye. They're not messing around. They're getting their quarterback. They need a guy that can sling it downfield with accuracy. Drake Maye is the guy for them. New England Patriots are moving around on the board here. Drake Maye, Justin Jefferson. Drake Maye, Jordan Addison. Drake Maye, Hawkinson. That's a stellar team there. And for him to develop with those weapons, that's good to see. There's a lot of upside here for Dynasty Fantasy Football around the 103. When we're talking about Jaden Daniels, around that range too. But Drake Maye is going to be valued ahead of him, especially with the Vikings moving up. People are going to hold more value to that, and with the weapons he has there. Going on down to the next pick, we got another trade, and the Broncos move up and get J.J. McCarthy. Big-time prospect, getting a lot of buzz. We'll see if he goes in this range in the real NFL draft. But the Broncos need a quarterback. They need to do something. They need to make something happen. They're moving up. They're going to make sure they get their guy because there's other teams here waiting in the wings like vultures going to trade up. Like I said before in mock drafts, he's going to move up the board if this happens. 108 in Superflex at the lowest. We saw that in a recent mock draft for Dynasty Fantasy Football and a rookie draft. At the lowest, he's going to push up. That's going to push down some wide receivers, some talent, maybe like a Brock Bowers or a Rome Odunze a little bit. Maybe in some leagues, not all. But still, that's going to give us some value to capitalize on either at quarterback or at another position. But the Chargers go Marvin Harrison Jr. Justin Herbert gets their weapon. They get a top-tier pass catcher. Justin Herbert's value is going up. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s value is going up. Perfect landing spot for him. Is it going to happen? These trades got to happen first. But still, we got to see. Moving down to the Giants here, Malik Nabers. It's hard to pass on him. I could also see them going with Joe Alt. That'd be a smart move for them. But this is very flashy for them. They're building the wide receiver unit. It's not built yet, but they do have some players there. Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot and on the outside. Jalen Hyatt, the deep threat. And you got Malik Nabers as your bona fide stud. And he's still going to be a stud wherever he goes. I'd be still buying him in Dynasty Fantasy Football at cost. I would not be moving him down. Tennessee Titans go Joe Alt. We've seen this in 1,000 mock drafts. Falcons go Dallas Turner. We've seen this in 1,000,000 mock drafts. Bears go Rome Odunze. Him and Caleb Williams should be a good marination of talent with those two. It's going to be a build-up process for Rome Odunze. You might catch him as a discount either in rookie drafts or later on down the road. They got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore there. So that's going to impact the depth chart a little bit. But remember, he's the young buck. He's got some upside. Any other class, he's the top wide receiver. This is still good to go. This might camouflage him a bit and you can catch him at a discount, which I like. I would definitely do that. Next pick, Brock Bowers to the Jets. And him and Aaron Rodgers, they got to make sure Aaron Rodgers is good with this team. They got to make sure they got everything. And the fact that they got Brock Bowers stretching the seam, getting yards after the catch, I would get him early. I would like him a little bit more with the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. They're going to try and get him on the field, not to develop, because honestly, they need this talent with Aaron Rodgers. They need this now. I could see them pushing him up pretty quickly up the depth chart, even if it's not warranted. I can see them really trying to get him on the field, and the Jets are getting some weapons here. I like him in Dynasty. I think I'll still be playing strategy with him since he's a tight end. That being said, I like him a little bit more. Moving down here, offensive tackle to the Patriots. Non-fantasy positions will move a little quicker. Brian Thomas Jr. to the Cardinals. Kyler Murray gets a pass catcher that can stretch the field and do a little bit more. He's nasty off the release. Marquise Hollywood Brown's gone. They need a field stretcher. They need talent at the wide receiver spot. Brian Thomas Jr. will definitely deliver on that. Again, nasty off the release. Good downfield. Good ball skills. Kyler Murray likes to run around and just close his eyes and throw it up there. That's the meme on him. And Brian Thomas Jr., a good fit. A good wide receiver with a lot of upside. Moving on down. Bo Nix to the Raiders. They need to do something at the quarterback position. This is a cheaper cost than moving up for a quarterback. But again, not one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. When you watch him on tape, you're like, Also, he's going to compete with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. So if he's about it, he'll beat him out. If not, O'Connell and Minshew will be the guy. And they're just going to have competition there at the quarterback position. If Nix develops, good. If not, they got some guys to move on with. Moving on down to 14, offensive tackle to the Saints. Colts go Byron Murphy, defensive tackle from Texas. Seattle goes offensive tackle. Jaguars, Quinyon Mitchell, he's been gaining steam all draft season. Terran Arnold to the Bengals, no offensive line here. Let me know, Bengals fan, what you think about that. Rams go defensive end with Verse. He's nasty. Moving on down at 20, center for the Steelers. Offensive tackle for the Dolphins. Eagles go cornerback. Eagles fans, let me hear about it because you guys are always in the comments whenever they go cornerback early in these drafts. Patriots go cornerback, Cooper DeJean. Probably saying that wrong. Amaris Mims to the Cowboys. Look for them to spam offensive line in this year's draft. Look for that to happen. They need to rebuild it and retool it. This is another good piece here. Guyton, offensive tackle, Oklahoma going to the Packers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, go defensive end. We're not getting too sexy yet. Center to the Cardinals. A.D. Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell to the Bills. Perfect fit for him. Perfect fit for the Buffalo Bills. And thinking about this way, Josh Allen likes to sling the deep ball. He's good at that. Gabe Davis is gone. Look at what he did. A.D. Mitchell can do that and more. He's a better prospect. He's a better player. He's going to deliver more upside. When you think about that, for fantasy football, real football, this is a splash play for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, Mitchell's not the perfect wide receiver, but Gabe Davis wasn't either. That's why he fell in the draft. A.D. Mitchell blew up the combine. He's faster. He's got length. He's a good route runner, but he does take some plays off. But this dude can get vertical. Lions go Chop Robinson. Ladd McConkey to the Ravens. I think this is a great play for the Ravens at the wide receiver spot. In real life, this means Rashad Bateman's leaving eventually. He's gone. They're not looking for him long term. They got Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman hasn't stepped up. He's gone. He's gone. After this year, sooner than later. Ladd McConkey, though, is a great route runner. For fantasy football, though, the volume's going to be questionable. Eventually, it's going to increase, but that might be years. But still, a first-round wide receiver should be good for real NFL football. For fantasy, you're still holding a flyer to him. You'll catch a first-round wide receiver at a good discount in this year's draft. We're moving on. Offensive tackle / guard. Jordan Morgan to the Niners. Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. Everybody's going nuts at the end of the first round that night. Twitter's blowing up. They're talking about Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs in fantasy. He's getting first-round draft capital in Dynasty rookie drafts. And that should happen to any wide receiver that lands in that spot because they will get the Chiefs privilege. They would definitely do that, and they'll get catapulted in value. And Xavier Worthy has the speed. He can break off routes. Very solid player. And however they want to use him, as a deep threat, a guy after the catch, quick slants. Last year, the ADOTs were kind of low on the wide receiver. If they still want to work that with him, it'll be all right because he can get you yards after the catch. I think him, Rashee Rice and company, I think they're building something here in the receiver depth chart that's starting to look kind of nice, and they're starting to get it together. Now it's time for round 2. The Panthers go Xavier Legette. They might like just big wide receivers. They like big wide receivers, and they cannot lie because they did the same thing with Jonathan Mingo last year. Big, athletic wide receiver prospect who can get downfield. Legette's a sneaky play because he could be better than what a lot of people think because South Carolina did not ask him to do everything. And then when we get to the Senior Bowl, once we get into the practices like day 3, start breaking off routes looking good. Xavier Legette, highly athletic prospect, could be a sneaky play. But again, with the Panthers, you're going to catch them at a discount even. But we're moving on down here. Patriots go Keon Coleman. They get their pass catcher here. They got a big-bodied wide receiver, good at the catch point, not a separator, but a guy that's going to go up and get it. And Dynasty, you're looking at him as a second-round pick in rookie drafts. He's going to get faded because he's got that Patriots name to him, and he's not a big-time prospect anymore among the Dynasty community. Moving on down, defensive tackle for the Cardinals, Newton. See his name pop up a lot here in mock drafts. Robinson, defensive end to the Commanders. Cornerback to the Chargers. Titans go linebacker. Offensive tackle to the Panthers. Offensive tackle to the Commanders. Cornerback to the Packers. This is a deep offensive line draft. It's very deep. You're going to catch a lot of talent there. Defensive tackle to the Texans. Cornerback to the Falcons. Raiders go offensive tackle, trying to keep their quarterback upright. Roman Wilson to the Saints. Him and Chris Olave seems like they'd be a good pair for the long term. They like to push it vertical. Roman Wilson to the Saints. He'll be going in the second round of rookie drafts. Not going to be pumped up. But we got top 60 draft capital. That's saying the odds are in his favor when you look at everything long term. I know there's late round picks that hit, a.k.a. Puka Nacua. But still, odds are more in his favor when you're drafted in the top 60. We got speed to burn. We can push it downfield. We can do the short to intermediate. I would be buying in the second round when it comes to Roman Wilson going to the Saints. I think that's a good landing spot for him. You got Chris Olave clearing things out, making it easier for him to work underneath. You can also stretch the field with him. There's a lot you could do with him. I think that's a great spot. Defensive end to the Colts. Giants go quarterback Michael Penix. So they're getting more talent at the quarterback position. Now we'll have more competition. Michael Penix, everyone's leery on him, but I'm less leery at second round draft capital versus first round draft capital. And quarterbacks aren't cheap. You got to pay up and get them. They're getting their quarterback. We'll see what happens. And Superflex is still probably going in the second round. Maybe earlier second than what you think in some leagues due to how much juice the quarterback position holds and value in your league. That's just how it is. Some leagues you can't trade for quarterbacks, and you got to take a gamble at a quarterback. I know a lot of people are not projecting big things for Michael Penix. But again, he was doing big things at Washington. People soured on him. He's got an injury history. But he could turn things around. They're trying to get pass catchers with the Giants. And remember, in this situation, they got Malik Nabers. In this situation, they're already hurting at the quarterback position. They're looking to make some changes. What if he steps up? Moving on, though. Defensive tackle, Jacksonville Jaguars. Ricky Pearsall to the Bengals. I never thought about this landing spot for him. But it's the chef's kiss. We got a lot of scuttlebutt with T. Higgins. He might be leaving, he might be staying, but we also got Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Pearsall's good downfield. He's good at contested catches, good hands. He does not need to be the alpha here, which is great for him. There's volume here for a wide receiver, too, to give you some production. We got a historical hit rate for that. I think this is great, especially if something happens to Higgins. If Higgins is still there, he can still work his way onto the field. I think he's going to still give you some upside. I think he'd still be a sneaky play. He'll go in the second round of rookie drafts. Eagles go linebacker. Steelers go Malachi Corley. He is a Steeler. Heart to heart, he's a Steeler. He's a thick boy wide receiver. He's good after the catch. He's aggressive. He'll run through your face. Him in the slot and in the outside a little bit. I could see him hitting in this offense. The Steelers are good at the wide receiver spot at finding value. Steve Smith loves him. I like him at this spot. I would take him in the second round of rookie drafts, depending on what happens at the running back position, because there's going to be a running back run in the second round. I like this spot for Malachi Corley. Rams go safety. Eagles go wide receiver. They got a clear out guy with Tez Walker. For Dynasty fantasy football purposes, there's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. I know that's a cliche. There's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. Like, you're not going to beat out Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown. That's just not going to happen. But you'll have a role on this team over time because you can stretch the field and you got speed, you got ball skills. That being said, you might be a splash play guy, but I might be fading you a little bit. But you're still in the top 60, so the odds are kind of in your favor. I just want to go other directions here, especially in the second round where I can hammer running back a little bit more and take some of the other wide receivers I like. Moving on down, the Browns go defensive tackle. Moving on down, the Dolphins go center. Cowboys get their running back in Jonathan Brooks. He's dealing with an ACL injury. He's coming back from that. So it might be the latter part of 2024 when you really start to see him. He's more of a 2025 play, but compared to the other running backs in this class, he's the only one that when you look at the metrics and the tape, after Bijan Robinson, of course, that looks like that could really hit big time at the NFL level with very little doubts. That's why he's going this early. He's good at catching balls out of the backfield. You can line him up in the slot. He's good between the tackles. He's electric. He's got burst. I think this is a good pick for Dallas. They need to up the running back position. I can also see them going offensive line here. For Dynasty rookie drafts, he might catch some Cowboys privilege. He might land like 111, 112, if not early second round. I look for that to happen if this happens. Buccaneers go guard. Packers go center. Texans go safety. Bills go cornerback. Troy Franklin to the Detroit Lions. So him, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta. The volume in the offense is going to be very questionable there. Jameson Williams hasn't been hitting, but Jameson Williams can be a clear-out guy. That could actually be beneficial for Troy Franklin. I think you're going to catch Troy Franklin at a discount. You're going to catch him in the second round of rookie drafts. People are going to be scared of that. That's going to be a notion. But remember, draft talent over situation. Talent will win out. Very good route runner. He is also good at getting downfield. He can stretch the field. He can also play the short to intermediate. There's nothing that you don't like about Troy Franklin. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown as a wide receiver, that helps him. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to push for a 30% target share. Sam Laporta is going to get 20 to 25% target share. Troy Franklin has to push to 20% to be fantasy viable here. If not, he'll be a splash play guy, but he has the skill set to do so. That being said, I still like him. And I like him at the cost that I'm foreseeing him being at for Dynasty rookie drafts. Ravens go cornerback. Niners go defensive tackle. Chiefs go safety. That's it for the second round. Third round, we'll start to move a little faster. So defensive end for the Panthers. Cardinals go defensive end. Commanders go defensive end. Jalen McMillan to the Patriots, so they get another pass catcher here. They really need to improve the depth chart there at wide receiver for fantasy purposes. He's a flyer in the third and fourth round. You really got to see a big change here with this Patriots offense for him to be fantasy viable, and he's also got to develop to a skill set. Moving on down to the Chargers. They get their tight end JT Sanders. He's got a lot of upside. He's athletic. And we know that this coaching staff likes offensive line and tight ends. That being said, JT Sanders to the Chargers, come on down. For Dynasty, might go in the second round of rookie drafts. Might get that. Really depends on what happens with the running backs here in a few picks. Next, guard to the Giants. Cornerback to the Cardinals. Safety to the Jets. Safety to the Lions. Defensive tackle to the Falcons. The end to the Bears. Cornerback to the Broncos. Brendan Rice to the Raiders. Brendan Rice acts like a Raider. He's very aggressive. He's good at the catch points. You got a good buffer with some good veterans there at the wide receiver spot for when he needs to take over. Devontae Adams is not going to be there forever. Brendan Rice, his dad played there for the Raiders for a bit. I look for this to be a good fit, especially for the long term. I don't want him going to a spot where there's another alpha. I think he can eventually develop into being an alpha. I like him at this spot. I think he'll still be a sneaky play in the second round of rookie drafts, early third round of rookie drafts at this spot due to the draft capital. Moving down though. 78s, Commanders go cornerback, Falcons go linebacker, running back Jalen Wright to the Bengals. And he's got a lot of upside to that size adjusted athleticism. He was productive in the SEC. He's got Joe Burrow in the company. He'll be in the second round of rookie drafts easy. He's going to get a crowd behind him. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people pulling the trigger on him in the first round, 110, 111, 112 due to this because of the love for the running back position. Moving down to the next pick. Jalen Ford, linebacker to the Seahawks, cornerback to the Colts. Rams go defensive tackle. Steelers go offensive tackle. And Trey Benson to the Browns. They need to add more depth to the running back position. They've been dealing with injuries. They need to shoot for upside here. Benson gives you that 4.3 speed, good size adjusted athleticism. Good pick for the second round of rookie drafts because the depth chart is a little clustered there. That being said, still a good selection there. Good value for the third round. Texans go center. Cowboys go Jalen Polk. So they get a field stretcher at the wide receiver position with Michael Gallup gone. This adds some fantasy value. He's got to hit downfield. He's got to be productive quick. CeeDee Lamb's going to get a ton of targets. He's going to get a 30% target share. Jalen Polk, if he can push in the 20 range, then he can be viable in fantasy. Look for him to get drafted late second, mid third of rookie drafts. It really depends on the running back class, but there is some upside here. Moving down here, Packers go defensive tackle. Buccaneers go cornerback. And the Cardinals go with Jermaine Burton here at 90 overall, and I think he's a sneaky play. They're adding to this wide receiver depth chart. They're getting themselves some playmakers. He's nasty off the release. He can get downfield. He's not the strongest wide receiver at the catch point, but I think he can be a sneaky splash option for fantasy football and real NFL football if he develops his game more. Packers go defensive end. 92, Buccaneers go linebacker. Ravens go guard. Niners go guard. Chiefs go defensive tackle. Jaguars, wide receiver Javon Baker, come on down. This is going to be a trendy play in Dynasty rookie drafts. Would not be surprised if he goes in the second round. Would not be surprised if he goes early third round. His ball skills, his route running, he's a nasty player. Him paired with Trevor Lawrence, he's going to get that Trevor Lawrence bump. The Jaguars kind of need a little bit more at wide receiver. I look for him to be a big help for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next, coming on down, Bengals go offensive tackle. Steelers go cornerback. Rams go offensive tackle. Theo Johnson, one of our big tight ends, going to the Commanders. Going to give him good size adjusted athleticism at the tight end spot, especially when you got your quarterback. That being said, when it comes to Dynasty Fantasy Football, he might get faded a little bit, but I look for him to be a cheap get still, and I still like him. Third round, fourth round of rookie drafts. Again, we got to see what the rest of the picks look like, but I look for him developing into an option. Moving down, now we're to the fourth round. We're going to start going a little bit quicker. We're going to go in batches, and I'm going to look at the big fantasy relevant players, and you just look at the players you like here. So, Braylon Allen, first pick on day 3, going to the Carolina Panthers. They're getting themselves a big running back who can run it between the tackles. He's young with good speed for his size, good production at Wisconsin, could benefit. I look for him to be late second round of rookie drafts, really, because he does have a place in fantasy football, and he also has some hype behind him. Also, 103, the Patriots select Spencer Rattler here, and this is a good developmental quarterback who has a lot of upside, and I would not be surprised if he ends up one of the more productive quarterbacks in the class. I would not be surprised if he gets his opportunity. I would take a stab at him in Superflex drafts for sure, because there's a chance he just increases value, and he can just be a chip on your roster. Also, the Chargers get Blake Corum. He's jumping in the second round of rookie drafts. He's going back to Harbaugh. He's going to be getting the workload. I'd be paying up for that. I'd be looking to get him. The Giants get Marshawn Lloyd. It's a great fit. Good size adjusted athleticism. He's going to be getting good opportunities there. He's going to be using the passing game. We saw that with Saquon. I like Marshawn Lloyd. I'll be drafting him in the second round at this spot as well. Moving on down here, and our next one, Jamari Thrash to the Jets. Good speed, good burst. Late round pick in rookie drafts as a flyer. Audric Estime to the Raiders. So interesting spot there. They got some pounders between the tackles. He's going to have to earn his stripes. Zeus isn't giving up the reins, but injuries happen. Audric Estime is more of a long-term play there, but look for him to be in the 3rd round of rookie drafts. Moving down here, looking for another guy, Luke McCaffrey. A lot of buzz from the combine going to the Broncos. McCaffrey going to the Broncos seems like a big deal there. I'm kind of fading in rookie drafts. Malik Washington, though, heavy hitter, going to C.J. Stroud and company of the Texans. I'll be looking to get him late in rookie drafts. I like him there. I think he can get downfield. He's been rising his draft stock ever since the Shrine game. Look for him to have some upside there. Look for him to get a lot of buzz if he lands in a good spot in this territory of the draft. Michael Pratt going to the Packers. Going to be a good developmental prospect, nothing more. Cade Stover to the Texans. A guy you need to pay attention to there with the Texans because C.J. Stroud can elevate everybody in the offense. Moving down here, Will Shipley and Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving going to the Ravens, giving them a receiving threat out of the backfield. Watch out for Keaton Mitchell. Watch out for Bucky Irving getting some opportunity. Also, Derrick Henry is not going to last forever. Also, Will Shipley going to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's going to be getting that Chief privilege. He's going to see a bump in value here at 131 overall. Going to be getting some opportunity with a good offense here. He's going to be drafted kind of high, but still at this spot in the draft in the 4th round. It's okay in my book considering tight ends are considered one-year gambles, mostly in Dynasty Fantasy Football. Moving on down to the 5th round here, just looking for fantasy relevant players. Ray Davis to the Cardinals, very sneaky. James Conner's not going to last forever. He's a guy you may want to look at here in rookie draft. Bub Means, we don't hear much about him. I'm going to add him to the rankings here soon. But going to the Falcons will just be a developmental prospect on the back end. Jacob Cowing, though, another wide receiver going to the Bengals. Very productive in college. He's a guy that could exceed expectations. Be on the lookout for him. Isaiah Davis going to the Denver Broncos. And they got an open depth chart at the running back position. Isaiah Davis, very good between the tackles. A small school prospect, though, but will be a cheap chip in both the NFL draft and in rookie draft. Taj Washington has some ball skills. Could be a good player on the back of the depth chart on the Colts, but could also be sneaky down the line. Someone you want to pay attention to. Dylan Johnson to the Rams. That's a very sneaky play. We got Kyron Williams there. He was getting a lot of touches last year. Dylan Johnson, a good pass catcher out of the backfield. I'd be taking a spin at him in the latter part of the draft, big time, due to his ability to catch balls out of the backfield, due to his size. I think this is a great fit. This is a guy that can just earn more role into the depth chart and become a staple. Also, Isaac Rondo going to the Vikings. Highly athletic prospect here. We had a big quarterback change in the draft. Could give you some upside there. Moving on down here, looking for another guy. Devin Leary to the Saints. You don't hear that name. More than likely just a developmental prospect. Tyrone Tracy from Purdue going to the Saints. Another developmental prospect there. Don't worry about that in rookie drafts. Now we're going to round 6 here. Looking for more fantasy relevant names here. And it's really starting to get a little bit bleak here. The talent pool has been zapped, so think about that. But we got Xavier Weaver going to the Steelers. They're adding more depth. Also, Cornelius Johnson going to the Rams. They're adding more depth at the wide receiver spot. Cody Schrader, productive SEC running back, going to the Bills. Them just getting more depth at the running back position, but he can also catch the ball out of the backfield, and he also has a good pop in his step on tape. That being said, we're moving on down. Eric All, Iowa tight end, going to the Rams, so they're stacking up on skill players here. Anthony Gold going to the San Francisco 49ers. Should be more depth. Niners getting Jace McClellan here, getting more depth at the running back position, and that is what we're seeing here at this part of the draft. Just getting depth, getting upside. But Johnny Wilson is a big get for the Packers because he's going to give them some size at the wide receiver spot and could move to tight end, give you some extra versatility. A guy that you may want to look at off waivers or in like the 5th round of your rookie drafts if they go that far. Moving down here, Looking at the other picks here, more fantasy relevant players. Also, I'm going slow so you can look at the guys you like, but things are getting bleak here. Kendall Milton going to the Cowboys is a big get here for Dallas because they do need running backs for the now. They have not picked up anybody in free agency. He could add depth instantly for 2024. A thicker running back who's good between the tackles who also has some upside here. Moving down here, Jordan Whittington, named from college football, going to the Panthers. He'll add some depth there. Michael Wally going to the Titans, more depth for that team. Monty Bailey going to the Packers, getting them more depth at running back. Anais Smith going to the Texans, something you want to pay attention to because he's going to give them some speed and some burst and pop. Jalen Cocker from Holy Cross, pay attention to him on the back end of the depth chart there. Trey Knox, a big name from college football, going to the Titans, another depth guy. Joe Milton to the Jets, a big-armed quarterback, going to be depth and a developmental asset here for that team. But that's the 7-round mock draft from ESPN that was dropped today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.